So let's talk about 9 keys to success when you want to switch industries. So the first is certifications or additional education. When you're switching industries, you need to start doing research from the get-go to know, are there any additional free classes I need to take or full-on certifications I need to get to actually be eligible, marketable for this position? It is very important to do the research before, because I would hate if you signed up for like a $12,000 certification and it turns out it's just kind of applicable. So make sure you're doing that research, and there are tons of free little things you may be able to do that are sufficient. Sometimes you just need to bite the bullet and do one type of certification, but that's really going to get your foot forward. The next, and I would argue the most important when switching industries, is networking and informational interviews. They always say the phrase, you get jobs by talking to people, but I would almost double the impact of that statement when it comes to transitioning fully into a new industry. You don't know anyone in that industry right now because your current industry is where all your contacts are. So it's important before you even start applying to really start getting those contacts, start making those connections, because they're the ones that are going to be able to advocate for you in rooms that you are not. So if you're interested in project management, but you've been doing marketing up until now, you want someone that's going to say, hey, I know this awesome girl, Tina, and she actually has a really interesting experience with marketing and is transitioning into project management. I think she would be fabulous. So you want those people that are going to advocate for you, and you do that through networking and informational interviews. The next is keyword and jargon adjustment on your job application materials in LinkedIn. We all know there is different acronyms that are commonly used, just different verbs that they tend to prioritize in different industries. There's the corporate stuff alone that we all know is just means nothing sometimes, kind of talking in circles. But there are some things that you're absolutely going to need to change on your profile so that it is getting hit by the right recruiters. When they search, it goes through your LinkedIn headline first, then your about section, then your experience section. So it is important that you have certain keywords on there so it's picking it up. So as you're looking through job descriptions, talking to people in those industries, start noting what are some random terms they're using that I just do not use in my typical industry? Because those are important to know. The more it sounds like something that they're going to say in day-to-day life or put in a job description, the better, because they're like, I see what this person's doing. I see these transferable skills in here. So it's really important to describe your experience in their language. That's the biggest way that you're going to be able to transition, is you need to explain it in a way in their language. The next is online presence and professional brand. So of course, most recruiters are on LinkedIn right now. And when people are searching for you, usually the first thing that comes up is your LinkedIn. So if you haven't updated it, now is the time to spend some time updating it, getting those right keywords. And that's also how a lot of people are going to find you for networking opportunities. And when you're reaching out to folks on LinkedIn for informational interviews, networking, you want them to see what you want, your specific brand, etc. So when you're thinking of professional brand, you want to think not just who I am as a professional, but even what words, skills do you want associated with you? So if I'm thinking oh, that guy, Greg, he is a really good project manager. He always has a smile on his face. I know exactly that's Greg. So you want people to start thinking of that. So think about what words do I want people to associate with me, and really start putting that in your LinkedIn, using that in your tell me about yourself, all of that. You want those specific words all over your materials, all over when you go to networking events. And that way that becomes part of your brand. And people are like, oh, Laura, she's that really smiley girl. She's a career counselor. You want people to remember it like that. The next is leverage your unique backgrounds and experiences. One thing that is something that you have that no one else has when you're transitioning industries is you have an extremely unique background and experience that would provide a different lens to how you approach work. And that is a positive. So you want to say, listen, I know you have all these people that are already in marketing, but I come with this experience from the customer service side. So I actually know what's resonating with clients. So I am able to approach marketing with this specific lens. So make sure to use that as an advantage, because it is. You just need to describe it as such. So that way you're really highlighting the different experiences you have in this industry, as opposed to saying, I don't have it, but please, I promise I'm good at it. It's an advantage. So make sure you say it like that. The next is time management and budgeting. So in terms of time management, we all know that job searching is consuming as it is. It is already a lot. So when you're switching industries, it can be even a little more challenging because you're redeveloping your materials, you're trying to build that network, you're trying to see if you qualify for a job based on your skills. So I would argue that you need to set a couple hours aside each week just dedicated to either job searching, networking, or updating your materials. So that way each week, no matter what, you are doing stuff to push yourself to get into that new industry. Because it's very easy to say, this is stressful. I'm gonna work on it next week. Oh no, just kidding. I'll work on it the next week. Set some time, force yourself to do it, because that's how you're going to make progress, is continued work on it, not taking breaks, like actually setting some time aside that's realistic, but you're still knocking it out. And then budgeting. So that kind of falls into the certification / additional education. Just know in advance, are you going to need to get some certifications? And if so, it's good to start saving now so that you actually have the appropriate money. So I'll go into this a little bit later, but like if you were to get a coaching certification, those are shockingly expensive, I will tell you, because I was looking into it before I picked my certifications, and it's around like $12,000. So it is important to know what you want to get yourself into, and then you're appropriately budgeting in advance, because that would be so horrible to get faced with that unexpectedly. The next is a positive attitude. With switching industries, there's going to be little bumps in the road because you are constantly learning about how to change it. So the first couple of applications, you may receive rejections, and that's because there's something on your resume that you can be tweaking. There's a different way to phrase things. So if you're not getting the interview, that means there's something on your resume that can be fixed. If you're not getting the job after interviewing, there may be something in your interview that can be tweaked. So it is important to make sure you know that this is just part of the process. You're supposed to have little failures, little bumps in the road, but that is on purpose, so you can continue to refine and actually get to where you need to be. So just know it is going to be important to have a positive mindset, or someone that is overly positive in your life that can say, listen, Laura said that's what's supposed to happen, because you want to make sure you still have the drive, the stamina to continue. The next is a realistic mindset also. So with switching industries, there is a chance that you're either going to have to make a lateral move or maybe a slight decrease, just because you're coming from a different industry. So it is important to know, if you're coming from like a marketing position and you want to go into talent acquisition, you're not going to be like, I'm going from manager of marketing to director of talent acquisition, because that is unrealistic. You want to, note that it may be a little bit of a decline, but know the growth available. So just fully accept that, be realistic with where you want to go, but still push towards those goals. And then lastly, accountability. You're going to need at least one person in your life that's going to say, hey, it could be someone in this room. I could be saying, hey, Mark, I am about to start my 2 hours of job searching on this fine Thursday night. Are you about to do the same? So just have some accountability buddy that's going to kind of force you to keep on applying, keep on networking, all of that, and just spend some time specifically focused.